player, and this your number one responsibility, what's the balance between like, I guess, frustration and like trying to find a solution?
Like you mentioned, you're always trying to find a solution, but then also realizing, okay, what's actually going on? Because you don't want to just start going rogue and saying, well, okay, I want to make a play, I want to make something happen. I don't care what the scheme is. I'm trying to bounce this. I'm trying to make a big play. That'll just make things worse. So trying to figure out, okay, well, first, was my track right? Did we get everything ID'd right? Is it someone just needs to hold the block a little longer? Do I need to bring the defender? So trying to find that solution first. But the number one thing is just don't get too frustrated to where you just try to go make big plays on your own. It's the ultimate team sport. Usually when you try to do things like that, it doesn't turn out well. You got to be able to execute that no matter what the situation is, or no matter, how the ball is placed, or whatever the situation is, you got to get the ball back cleanly to AR, regardless of even what the coverage is, just so that you even give the play a chance. So that starts with me. It starts with Tanner, then it starts with me.
Steven?
Hey, GT. We talked about the offensive line having, continuity and playing together. But when there are changes, obviously it affects that. Does that have impact for the running back as well when you're playing behind different guys? And I don't know, maybe they carry out the blocks differently. I don't know. What's the adjustment?
I was gonna say definitely, and when there's multiple, new guys in there now, their communication with one another is starting to be worked through. So it's not even just myself in the O line. Then it's, hey, how are those five guys up front communicating now? Usually, if those guys have that continuity, they kind of know certain looks and what they want to do, how they want to handle certain looks. So it's a one big kind of group effort. Like I said, those guys up front, and then now it's how do we communicate as backs with those guys up front? Because now they're communicating differently together as well up front.
George Bremer?
Jonathan, sorry. How do you stay patient? You look at the Buffalo game, and you see, where you had the big runs that came in very isolated incidents. How do you keep from being frustrated and make sure that you're ready when those moments come?
Like they're gonna come. You know that they're gonna come. It's far and few, especially with some of the better run defenses. But you know that there's a slip, there's a break in the foundation somewhere always, and you got to be ready to capitalize on those. Those are usually the plays that turn into big plays. But staying patient even throughout the game, just understanding, hey, maybe we just try to churn out some of these 3-yard runs into 4, 6-yard runs here and there. And then when those mistakes happen, when the defense slips up, being able, like you mentioned, to be patient and be ready for that moment, because that's when you have to take advantage of that opportunity.
Nate Atkins?
Played with Danny Pinner in 2021.
Yes.
What sticks out about him at center to you?
It was almost like Tanner. It was, especially just Danny coming in the same class as me. It was just kind of awesome to see him step in and really excel. So for me, it's, you don't really have any confidence or loss of confidence when, especially some of these guys have to get worked back into the rotation, because you've seen them work before, you've seen them perform before. It's just a matter of, like I mentioned, that continuity. Now there's 5 different new people working together, and then now we have to find a way as backs to mesh with how those guys are now newly communicating.
Nate Atkins?
Anthony just had a career high rushing this past game, but he said he graded himself a C for it because he said that there were plays that he could have kind of taken it to the house. Is there part of that that's like inspiring to know that, like, even though he has a good game like that, or when you have a good game, like, there's always kind of like more that you can do, that like if you hit another block or a certain cut, that there's like so many more yards out there.
Yeah, definitely. And then you always just see other, as you watch film throughout the week or watch games, you'll see other backs, or even in Anthony's instance, other quarterbacks probably have a similar run turn out in a similar way, and then the guy maybe made a move, and it's all different. Every situation is unique, but you always feel like, man, maybe if I would have just, straightened him up a little bit and then went back outside, or whether I would have just tried to hit him with a move maybe a little closer. So as being a ball carrier, that's always the struggle is, did I maximize every yard on that play?